What's going on, guys?
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hey, how are you? Hey,
Good.
Caitlin,
How's it
how are you?
going?
Colin,
Good
how are
morning.
you?
Good
Can
morning.
you guys? I just want to show you guys something really cool. Behind me are these amazing mountains.
Very jealous.
I just got down to this call. Make sure I don't fall behind on my consistency at all. Hey, Joshua, how are you, man?
Hi.
Don, Jana. What's up, Jana? Okay, so
I'm
Jada
just
is not joining us today. However, we are text my email address in case y'all don't already have it. Hey, Aaron, how are you, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
Hey, good.
You're skiing again, huh?
I am. So this ski meetup I started because I come here just obnoxious amount of times and I need to make something out of it. So we did a ski meetup instead of me just coming here with my family.
Love it. Where are you skiing at? Colorado?
Yes, in Keystone, Colorado. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so if you guys have a deal to underwrite, please send it to my email. We are just doing plain and simple underwriting today in no podcast, no nothing, because we tried the podcast and it's working really well. It's also taking away time from our underwriting, which is the core uh, value of this call, honestly. So we are gonna try and keep that balance. But in case we can't get to everyone, we'll make sure we add another call or move the podcast to another day or something like that. Right. Caesar Zapier, how are you? Am I saying that right? Is it Caesar or Cesar? Lourdes, how are you? What's going on, Colleen?
Hi, Chai. Love the
Oh,
background.
thank you, thank you.
Did you go out yet, or it's your first
Yeah,
day
I
there?
did. I went out on the first lift because this call. So I mean, it's noon central, but it's 11 a.m. here. So I got maybe 2.5 hours. And then after this call, I'm
Oh,
gonna go another 2, 3 hours.
does your family ski as well?
So one of the sub two members, his name is Max. He's taking my son. My family is not here. My wife and my little one is not here because my wife blew up her ACL. And I already dragged her on like 3 ski trips before this. So she's like, I'm done. I have nothing to do there. I'm gonna come next year when my ACL is fine. Hey, thank you so much for joining us, Caitlin. And as far as Caitlin is going to be our business buying expert, and she is going to. I mean, we are going to run a panel to discuss um, multiple folks who buy businesses, and that's my personal agenda as well. I want to learn from these experts. So she's gonna. I mean, we are gonna plan this. I have 2 other people. We are gonna do a panel of different folks who buy businesses and underwrite businesses as well. And that's one of the things I want to introduce to this call to basically spread our wings under underwriting and add more things to it. But until then, we are open. ACL is a ligament in your under your knees. I mean, inside your knee, there are 2, 3 ligaments. One of them is called ACL. which is the most common to break. So that's what my son, while skiing, ran into my wife, and she hit her knee, and she blew up her ACL. All right. Okay. Nobody of
Very
you,
sad.
I mean, none of you have a deal to underwrite, Colleen. What about you?
No, I've just been traveling for work, so I don't think I came on here last week or the week before. I'm just getting back into the groove of things, so not today. But hopefully I can get something from them. Our underwriters, I wanted to bring them here, but they're
Okay.
men and they do appraisals and they're working, so their schedule's kind of off, and we do plan to bring them in here. Sometimes they jump in one at a time, and then later
Okay.
they'll text me and say, "Hey, I was in there. That was pretty interesting." They'll give their feedback.
Love that.
But yeah.
Yeah. Let's plan a Zoom with your group and see how we can work together. For sure.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Maybe we can do it on another day, you mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Anytime. Just
perfect.
let me
Thank
know.
you, Chai.
Of course. Hey, Zana, I think you had a deal we discussed that we were going to bring up on this call.
Hi,
Am I?
Chai. Yes,
Hey,
yeah, hi. Yeah, I had a question about second position lenders.
okay.
So let's say we find in a second position lender, is it okay if they ask for a piece of equity? Is it that what the second position
Yeah,
works like, or?
so that model is called PMP, like private money partner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's when so second position lender is coming in as a partner on the deal, not as a lender. So I don't know if Amy, do you guys know Amy English from Austin by any chance? Any of you guys know here? So know her. So she is one of the ones who is building a fund along with Alan Seshkar. Alan Seshkar is an attorney who does all the creative transactions in Texas. So there is 2 or 3 attorneys. Hold on a second. Okay. Sorry about that. So Alan Seshkar is building a fund specifically for second position loans. Okay, so I don't know what the details are, but I can put his name in the chat right here. Alan. He's a big attorney. I mean, he's all over the internet. You can find him easily. And also reach out to Amy English. So Amy English is also going to work with us on this call and also on our DSCR brokerage side. As a senior loan officer, basically. So she has a lot of experience, and she's also going to start helping us with business development for our DSCR brokerage. So she is a really, really good resource. She's out there every day, going to meetups, doing like speaking at a lot of meetups. So she is one of the partners with Alan Seshkar who who is developing this second position lean fund. So reach out to them for sure.
Can
And
you please,
one other
can you,
resource, sorry.
oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Can you please add her name in the chat also?
Yeah, I put both of their names, Alan Seshkar and Amy English. And I
Thank
think
you.
Clint and someone, so Amy English worked for another DSCR brokerage run by Clint. He is also part of this this fund.
Mm-hmm. So I don't really know because I've never done it before. So how much of the percentage do you usually offer in the second position?
So the PMP model, and I'll warn you about that. I mean, it's a great model. You will get a lot of money, a lot of people throwing money at you, but make sure your core values are intact. Just because people are throwing money at you, that doesn't mean you should take it all. Because if the deal is not sound enough, you may fail. And there are really bad stories around this whole PMP model that have gone wrong. I mean, the deals that have gone wrong. So what it does is, let's say you have a subject to deal, you're buying $300,000 house. The underlying lien is around 270,000 and your out of pocket is 30,000. Okay. That's an ideal sub to deal to purchase. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And interest rate is, say, I mean, very ideal, below 4%. So the PMP, which is private money partner, comes into that deal and they put down the 30,000 and they take 50% ownership of the deal. Okay. Depending on the
Mhm.
partner and depending on your negotiation capability or ability to negotiate, you can go from, I mean, giving them 25% ownership up to 75%, depending on, I mean, if they demand higher ownership, then you might have to work with them. But at the end of the day, the deal has to pay everybody in the deal. Okay, everybody who's involved. So if the deal does not qualify in or it's not underwritten correctly, you are going to run into issues. So in Texas, a $300,000 house is a sweet spot more, I mean, in the affordability like zone. Okay. So if you buy a property that's worth 800,000 in Texas, that's way outside of the affordability zone. So if you, just because you have these private money partners out there who are willing to throw money at you, doesn't mean you should be buying $800,000 house in Texas for investment purpose, unless you know what you're doing. And
Okay.
by that, what I mean is, if you are someone who uses co-living strategy, I mean, I don't know if you attended the podcast we did with Dustin and Tracy, you can go to Jada's YouTube channel or mine and find that podcast. But they were talking about, hey, give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. Take this call.
Okay.
Hi guys, it's my first time on here. But are you all like money lenders or on properties or on businesses? Because I know he's talking about we're gonna
Okay, I'm
start
so
looking at
sorry,
business.
guys.
Oh, sorry.
So what I was trying to say about affordability zone is $800,000 house in Texas. Unless you know what you're doing, you're not able to find exit strategy for house like that easily in Texas. So let's say you're buying an $800,000 house, but it has 15 bedrooms, just throwing a number. If you have a house like that and you can put that house on co-living, you guys can see. Yeah. So 15 bedrooms are going to generate enough revenue to where it can service the underlying debt plus the $80,000 that your private money partner put down. So if the numbers match well, okay, let's just put something. Okay, let's put some numbers on the screen so we can follow. Okay, So let's say $800,000 house, okay, has 15 bedrooms. 15 times on an average, you can make about $175 per week on co-living strategy in Texas, okay? 175 to
Mhm.
220, but I'm just gonna stay on the lower side. Times 4 weeks in a month, that's 10,500 per month. You're gonna net, okay? I mean, gross, rent. Now, go to mortgage calculator, plug in, say, 700,000 in debt. 6.5 interest, 30 years. Property tax for a property like this will be around 15,000 in Texas. Insurance will be around 3,000. Your monthly payment is somewhere around 5,900, including taxes and insurance. Okay. Now, 10,500 you brought in, minus $1,000 in utilities, minus maybe 1,000 for vacancies, minus utilities, and then maybe another 1,000 for maintenance. So you are gonna net after paying all your expenses and minus your debt service, 5,900. You're gonna net in hand $1,600. Okay,
Mhm.
1,600 times 12 is $20,000. Divide that by 80,000 down payment that your private money partner brought in. So that brings you to a 24% cash on cash return.
Mhm.
Okay, now that 24% has to be split between you and the private money partner. Lot of times, private money partner deals are uh, done in a way where first 2 or 3 years, the entire cash flow is pledged to the private money partner so that their investment is paid out. Okay, so first 4 years, you're going to spend on paying private money partners money back. After that, you will split the $1,600 even every month. That is a
Mhm.
typical way of doing a private money partner second position deal. But
Okay.
these numbers are already pretty close. If they are not, I mean, if you were to put your own 80 grand and clear 24% cash flow, that's a very good deal. Okay, for one person. But for two people to split 24%, that's 12% each. Well, that's infinite cash flow for the person doing the deal because you didn't put any money, and the 12% is for the private money partner.
Mhm.
So if you advertise to your private money partners, hey, if you invest money with me, I will make sure you make 10 to 15% return on a regular basis on your money. And we will also work on paying your money back. Or maybe sell the property after 5 years or refinance it if the value goes up and their money gets paid back. So if you negotiate a deal like that, then the PMP model will work really good. But now if you try to buy 800,000 property without knowing the co-living strategy, if the house is not big enough to where you can run that kind of strategy, or you can, so I mean, I'm talking, whenever I say something, I always talk from the Texas standpoint, okay? Because I know Texas and other markets, you can just adjust these numbers here. Like the property tax will be a lot lower, insurance might be lower, but there are other
Right.
challenges, okay? Prices of the
Mhm.
properties are already higher. So so in Texas, the sweet spot in terms of affordability zone is 250 to 350. Okay, if you go to Dallas, maybe you can go up to 400 or 450. Okay, because the uh, income is better. So,
Right.
but if you go to Arizona, the sweet spot may be 400 because your property tax is lower because your monthly payment will probably stay the same. Uh, even if your even if the price of the house is high in other places. Okay, so you uh, that's how you look at PMP deals. So I hope that answers your question, Rana.
Yes, thank you so much. And Chai, may I also
Of course.
ask you, when you underwrite multifamily deals, do you take a look at the cap rate as well,
Your-
or how do you guys calculate it? Because I've been
Your
enjoying
voice
your
is breaking up a little bit. Is it just me or you guys can also hear
Breaking up.
it's breaking up, right? Yeah.
yeah, probably bad connection here.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So what I was saying is when I join your Zooms, I don't really see a lot of Zooms who underwrite the multifamilies. And I'm pretty sure it's completely different from a single family house.
Yes.
By any chance, do you know if we have like a Zoom vault to take a look at the
So
Zooms
this
where
Zoom,
I can learn?
this is a separate community Zoom. The other Zooms you might have attended, I do those as part of sub two. And I mean, I can underwrite multifamily. That's not a problem. The only difference between single family and multifamily is single family underwriting goes by comp approach or sales comparison approach. That's what it's called. Okay. Multifamily, however, is underwritten based on income approach, not sales comparison. So the difference is, or to elaborate further, sales comparison is based on the houses in your neighborhood, what they're selling for. If there is an identical house nearby, and if that's sold for 300,000, that house is going to be the benchmark from value standpoint for your house. If that house and your house has similar upgrades, your house is likely going to sell for 300,000 as well. If your
Mhm.
house has more upgrades, then it might sell for slightly higher, maybe 320, 330, I don't know. But multifamily on the other side is gonna sell based on the money it makes and
Right.
the demand that is out there. So if there are, let's say the multifamily is making $100,000 and people are ready to pay $1 million for this property, then that means people are willing to pay an amount or willing to pay a price that will yield them 10% on their money, okay,
Right.
without getting any mortgage on it. That's called cap
Mhm.
rate. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you calculate, so now let's say there are hundreds of buyers for out there for multifamily. Suddenly, if the interest rates go down, whatever happens, and people start buying multifamily again, which again in the last 2, 3, when I say again, I mean right now people are holding out because of the interest rates are because the interest rates are higher and whatnot. But as they start buying again, you're gonna start seeing that people are ready to pay a little higher and they are okay with the lower yield on their money, or that means lower cap rate. So for the same house, I'm sorry, the same property that was making $100,000 and someone paid $1 million today may decide to pay a million and a half or 2 million next year. Because today interest rates are at 7%, or I'm not 7, maybe closer to 6 for multifamily. Okay. But if they go down to maybe like 3, 4, I don't think that will happen. But let's say if it does, then people will pay more because they can buy it more expensive, but get a lower interest loan on it and still make a lot more money. Okay. So underwriting is all about numbers. People don't care about how much they're paying for that property. And I mean, they do, but more than what they're paying, they care about their bottom line. And their bottom line is dictated by the interest rates in the market that are out there currently. So, or other factors like if interest rates stay the same, but the rents go up significantly for whatever reason, I don't know what will cause it. Let's say it goes up. If the rent goes up, that's also a reason why someone will pay more, right? Because the income will be higher. So
Mm-hmm.
there is multiple things that go into this. Let's say, I mean, in Texas, this is happening. Okay, this is a live example. In Texas, the same multifamily that sold for $1 million that made 100,000 yesterday is now selling for 800,000, because the same multifamily that made 100,000 last year is now making 80,000. That's because the property taxes went up and insurance went up, but the rents are still not catching up. So the income actually went down. That's why the valuation of the property went down. Okay. So it's pretty simple. And income went down because expenses went up. Okay. The expense ratio in Texas was closer to 50%, and it's pushing closer to 70% in some cases. Okay. So people are not able to make the deals happen because of that reason. So, I mean, insurance companies are leaving Texas. Okay, property taxes have gone up because during COVID, the prices went up drastically. So with all that, the bottom line for an investor of multifamily property is getting compromised. So the valuation is getting lower. So it's pretty simple when you look at it from the underwriting perspective. I mean, again, when you start underwriting a deal, you can look at numbers all day long. But after you look at numbers and determine, okay, this is how it looks like, you still have to go out there and look at the area where the property is. And the area is what dictates the rent. So your numbers have already figured all that out, or your numbers have factored all these things in. But the reason you need to go check the location yourself and do the due diligence on the location, because it's you who need to be comfortable with the type of clientele you're going to deal with. If you buy a property in ghetto, and there are people who are very successful in ghetto, okay, that's because they know how to deal with that clientele. They know they have a team that is focused on servicing that type of clientele. If you are not one of those people, if you're focused on, uh, if you're focused on a, I don't know, I mean, a clientele that is not as, I mean, that's more uh, friendly and less problematic, you shouldn't be going there. Even though the numbers make sense. Even if it is being sold at a 50% discount, you're gonna screw it up. That's the facts. Okay. So underwriting is what I tell people, and the reason I started my own community in underwriting is I want to be able to talk about underwriting freely, and because it all comes down to your personal skill set. Okay, it's not just numbers. Underwriting for Colleen is different than Zana, than Randall, than Lourdes. So everybody's underwriting is going to be different. And what dictates that is your experience, your comfort, your skill sets, and what you have done in the past. Okay, it's not just about real estate. It's also about your past experience and things you have done before. So, and that is what I'm here. I mean, my mission is for everyone to realize that and show the path to develop that understanding about yourself and create your own version of underwriting. Okay, because it is different. It is, I mean, whatever I underwrite for you, I need to know you before I tell you whether to make, I mean, whether to buy that property or not. Okay, my underwriting is only as effective as my knowledge of you as a person. So at the end of the day, multifamily, single family, it all comes down to that. Yes, it is different. One is sales comparison approach and one is income based approach. But at the end of the day, you're not uh, you're not just limited to numbers. That's what I'm trying to say. But great question, though. Thank you, Zahan. Anybody else have any deals to underwrite today? Otherwise, uh, I mean, Jada wanted to cancel the call today, but I insisted that I want to do it. Want to make sure we stay consistent. So I'm here for you guys. Anything you guys have, happy to look
Yeah,
at
I
it.
have a, I have a question.
Yes,
Yeah, I was asking, like, as you are talking about private money partners, right?
correct.
In that $300 deal. So, $300,000 deal. So, let's suppose we will consider private money lenders. So, in like, as per you, which one would be more beneficial for this kind of deals? Like, we should go for private money partners or private money lenders?
In which case?
Uh, the 300,000 deals you were talking about, like for thirty
It's
thousand
just,
dollars
again, it's up to you, right? If you are comfortable with taking more risk, and if you are responsible enough to take someone's money and at say 10%, so what so it's up about your comfort, like, because it's all your, again, the person lending you the money is going to lend that money to you. Okay, they are not lending
Yeah.
the money to the property. Sure, I mean, there are lenders like myself who are seasoned lenders, who are I mean, I'd never lend in second position, but the people that you are getting money in the second position, they are usually unsophisticated individuals. And when I say unsophisticated, it doesn't mean anything bad. It's just all it means is they don't have the exposure to real estate like you do. Okay. So they don't understand the nitty-gritties or the details of your strategy. You can explain them all day long, but more than likely they are the ones, I mean, they're going to say, okay, I trust you. Okay. So now it is up to you to, because it's a lot of burden. Okay. When you bring them in as a lender, it's a burden on you as
Yes.
a, but when you bring them in as a partner, now they are all equally vested in the deal. Worst case scenario, if you walk away, they can take over the entire deal. So that is what you're going to explain them. Okay, I can bring you in as a lender versus the partner, and this is how it will look like. Okay, the lender
Yes.
does not own the property or have any rights to the property. If you stop paying them, they can come and take the property over, but they will have to pay the underlying lender first before uh, before they can take over. Okay, at a foreclosure auction. There are ways to get around it, but again, we'll get into that later. But when it's a
So I have
lender,
heard about. Okay, okay.
when it's a
Please,
lender,
please.
all you have to do is service that debt on a regular basis. When they are paid off, it's the property is yours. So that's the
Okay.
difference. The only, and some, I mean, some may prefer being the lender, and some may prefer. So it's between you and the lender that you're bringing in as a lender or the partner. You have to have that discussion, and then decide what is good for both of you guys.
What do you prefer the most?
I don't want to create too many partners in my businesses, so I never take anybody as a partner. But I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this a long time. For someone just starting out, for them, that partner is a big support because they are making those decisions together as a partnership. Even though the person running the deal is actually doing all the operations, they are the operating partner. The decision making happens together. So someone starting out, it's a great idea to bring in a PMP. Okay. But
So I
someone
have heard about.
seasoned, it's their decision.
I have heard about, like, most people say, if you are like bringing any private money partner, so your responsibility is to just, at first you have to pay their entire investments, then you will get paid out of that deal. So how true that is?
Again, that's how it has been done in the past, but I've seen it multiple ways.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Yes.
sir.
So what Caitlin just said is very true. So this PMP, PML, all these terminologies um, are not as common in real estate, but they are very common in business part, because business, I mean, real estate is, I mean, the world we live in, the investor world, is not as regulated But when you go into business buying and other things, it's a lot less regulated than the real estate. So in that world, all these things have been done. I mean, nobody put a name on it, but what she's saying is similar thing with nail salon. I have an experienced operator who have a buy-in for equity benefit for me. I have invested also, who is also an operator, and I do the deal side financing and business management. So that happens, I mean, all the time on the business buying side. On the real estate side, it's getting more common, I would say that. So some, I mean, just because we are on this topic, some private money partners may ask you to put a small percentage of down payment out of your pocket. Like, for example, if the total down payment is 30,000, they may tell you, okay, I understand you don't have money. That's why you are raising this money from me. But I require you to put down $5,000 for me to come into this deal. That means you will be putting down 5,000 and they will be putting down 25,000. And together you put that deal together. I mean, together you own that deal, 50-50. Even though you put less money, your job is to do the full operations, finding tenants, managing the property, all these things. Their job is to bring money. And if that is, I mean, if they see, if they find success, then you can keep going to the next deals. So, if I am ever a PMP on any deal, I will look at it like this. I will make sure the operator has skin in the game. Okay. Because as a lender, I can tell you for sure that there is skin in the game, there is credit score, there is experience, and then there is skill set. These are the four things that is going to make anybody successful. Okay. Or rather, any lending deal successful. As a lender, these are the four things you need to look at. So if someone has a good track record of doing deals, has a decent credit score, and they care about their credit, that means they never let anybody down. And they have skin in the game. When you have these things,
you mean
people are not going to run away. I mean, I have, so there was a guy, not was, probably still is. There is a guy out of Denver, Colorado. He was part of Sub 2. Some of you might even know this story. He went the PMP route so hard that he went from 0 to 110 subject to deals in 1 year or 1.5 years maximum. 0 to 110. And I met him when he was, he had 3 deals. Okay. And he had 17 under contract. And I mean, I asked him, hey, is this even sustainable? He's like, yeah, don't worry. We have a team in place. Then I met him 6 months later. He had 30 deals under contract and 20 already purchased. And not one of them had a buyer in this. Okay. And when I say buyer, I'm talking about a wraparound mortgage buyer or owner finance buyer. So I told him, you haven't wrapped, you only wrapped 3 properties out of the 20 that you own, and you are under contract for 30 more. He's like, yeah, don't worry, my team is doing their best or whatever. So by the time he was at 110 deals, he had 90 vacant properties, 90.
wow.
Okay. So he had taken millions of dollars from people, and in that process, he was not able to pay his own bills. So he had started taking $10,000 acquisition fee on every deal for himself. So he took 10,000 on 100 deals. He made $1 million, and all the private money partners lost their money, or they had to take the properties from him and do something about it. A lot of them just walked away from the property. A lot of them. So that is the horror story that I know. That doesn't, only thing that should tell you is, I mean, nobody cared about underwriting. Okay. Neither the operator nor the private. So there were so many people that were basically associating themselves with this guy to raise money for him. So they got paid to raise money. But the people who invested, they all lost their money. Okay,
Yes.
wholesalers who were not able to sell the properties. And the reason I use the example of $800,000 property is because he owned one in the cheapest market in Texas, which is San Antonio. I mean, I'm sure there is cheaper markets there, but of the big cities, San Antonio is on the cheaper end of the spectrum in terms of affordability and property values. So this guy bought a property that's worth $800,000 on a really high interest rate, which was never gonna be able, I mean, nobody was gonna be able to find a buyer for that property. Okay, so be very careful when you're doing these deals. If you do not know what you're doing, bring those deals here. We can look at it together and talk about it.
Yes. That makes sense, and thank you so much for that. I just got learn like in the beginning I can go for PMP like first 1 or 2 deals, and then
Yeah.
after private money lender would be a great thing to like just avoid those daisy chains, right?
Yeah.
That that
All
makes
right.
sense.
Okay, I've got a
Armando,
question.
how are you?
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
oh,
Go ahead.
I got a question on your PMPs. I realize that the investor wants a certain return on their investment, but do they want a certain amount of equity in the property? In other words, a combined loan, dirt lien, and the first at 70% or something like that. What is
Yeah.
standardly the equity position that they're looking for?
There is no such thing as a standard, but if you
Okay,
ask me on an average, people do 50-50 in PMP. That's what I've seen.
sorry, what was the percentage
Yeah.
again?
I'm 50-50. The person who brings the deal and operates it keep the 50% equity, and the person who funds it get the 50% equity.
Okay, when you say, okay, but I
It's
just wonder if
partner,
they want
50-50 partnership.
Okay, yep. But I realize that they want a return on their investment, cash on cash. But do they want the security that there's 70 cents to the dollar in value, that there's an additional 30% equity, or where is there some kind of
No,
a cap?
I'm,
Say they'll go 80%.
I'm not
There-
following you. Say that again.
Okay. I realize that they want a return on their investment, cash on cash, but do
Yeah.
they want a cushion of equity on the property that you acquire? They don't want you to buy it at fair market value. They say, besides, I want my cash on cash, I want a 30% equity in the project.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. That's exactly what I'm referring to. I'm saying that they get, so this is how, that's what we discussed earlier with Zana. So somebody buying a property, sub two, finds out that there is a $30,000 down payment in order to acquire that property. So they reach out to their friend, hey, do you have $30,000? I'm looking for a partner on this deal. Okay, so the way the deal is structured most commonly, and this is not a standard by any means, this is not regulated space. You can do whatever you want as long as you can manage the expectations and not fall on your face doing this. Okay, but the most common way of doing this is the person, that friend who's going to fund the 30,000 to acquire the property, gets 50% equity in the deal for taking the risk on the investment. Now,
Okay.
when it starts cash flowing, they get paid first. When their entire 30,000 is paid back, then the cash flow will be split even. That is the most common way of doing it. That has it is not a standard again. You can tell them you can leave this money in the deal and we are going to split the cash flow from day one. That's fine. If they agree to it, great, you get cash flow from day one. But a lot of people who invest in deals like that, they want to take the entire cash flow until their money is paid off. The 30,000 is paid off, then the cash flow is split half and half.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Hey, Chai,
Hey,
in
how are
that
you?
example that you were just talking about, what generally happens when you have some capital expenditure, say like a new roof, new furnace? does the capital partner and the operator
question.
split that
Great
cost or?
So if I were to do this, I would do, what I would do is I would set aside, and I've done rentals for over 10 years, and I can tell you with almost 99% confidence that no matter how great an operator you are, your expenses are going to hover around 10% of your gross rents for traditional rentals. Okay. For co-living, for Airbnb, numbers will be different. Okay. For co-living, it might be less compared to a standard rental, because for co-living, you're creating more, or your gross income is higher. Okay. So the percentage of maintenance is lower. But let's say if you go based on the traditional rental values, say a 300,000 house will rent in the market for $2,500. Every month you should set aside $250, whether you have an expense or not. Okay. So, and then lot of lenders, I mean, I have some portfolio loans where the lenders require me, on top of the 250, they require me to set aside another like $100 or whatever, some nominal number as a war chest. That's what we call it, war chest. And it's for rainy day, like a flood happens or roof is blown away by a hurricane. Whatever happens, you have that fund growing. Okay. If you don't use it, great. I mean, you can use that money to invest, or you can take that risk depending on your financial situation. And I take that risk all the time because I keep general reserves for all my businesses. I don't keep it based on one property. I keep it based on an entire business. Okay, this is how much I need as a backup. And now, I mean, I've reached a level where I have economies of scale. Okay. But when you have 1, 2, 3, 10 properties, that's not economies of scale. Okay. I would say maybe 20, 30 or more rentals will make economies of scale work better. So what that means is one roof will go out of 20 houses per year. So you're not going to pay 20 roofs every year. You don't have to take contingency for 20 roofs. But when you own one property, you probably have to take contingency for 1 out of 10 things that can go wrong, or 1 out of 5 things that can go wrong. So your contingency amount is higher when you don't have economies of scale. So great question, Aaron. Nobody's asked me this question in my last 2 years of underwriting.
So when you're taking, say, the gross rents or the net rents prior to distribution back to the capital partner, you're taking that percentage for the war chest prior to.
Yes.
Okay.
But as you grow with them, that contingency is going to start shrinking, because you will have more money coming in every month, and you can manage from the cash flow. When it's one house and your cash flow itself is like, say, $500, you cannot afford a $5,000. I mean, you're lucky to pay $5,000 for a roof nowadays, but say 10,000 for a roof. You can't afford that from $500 cash. When your cash flow grows to 10, 15,000 per month level, that's going to happen after you reach 20, 30 properties. That's when you can pledge the entire cash, just not take any money. But that's not the case with one property. You have to come out of pocket to pay for that. So building that fund early on is very good. So, and that's why, I mean, there is so many like flavors to underwriting. I mean, you, Aaron Ford, with, say, if I don't know your background, I'm just making this up. Like, let's say Aaron has a family business that is making millions, and then he decides to like get into real estate. He doesn't need that fund. Okay, he can manage. But someone just starting their career and jump into real estate, buy a property, have like total life savings of $15,000. Yeah, you can take it. So for them, it's a different story. So your capital partners, regardless of who you are and what your financial background is, when you have a partnership, you need to have these discussions early on, because setting the expectations is the most important part of your partner. A lot of people leave a lot of things for imagination. Whatever you think that is obvious is not always obvious to another person. And that's where the partnerships go wrong. And it's not just your fault, it's also the capital partner's fault. Okay. But that doesn't mean you as an investor, I mean, you should not be counting on someone's stupidity in your business. That's not a good strategy. Okay. So you as an investor should always do the right thing. You should always, because you are here for the long haul. They may invest in your deal and they see failure and they will never talk to you again. But you are the one who's going to suffer from these failures. That failure is going to go on your record. And believe me, there is a record. Okay. No matter, even if you don't tell anybody, they are going to tell somebody. That somebody, and it's a very small world. The word goes around very fast. Do not screw your capital partners. I guarantee you. That never goes well. Yes, Lordis. Sorry.
Yeah, no
What's your
problem.
question?
So I'm just jumping onto Aaron's scenario here. So you have a partnership, and early on something happens in the house that you're not prepared for. You didn't build the war chest yet. So how do you decide who's going to pay? Are you going to pay half and half, or are you going to? Is that has to be in
Good question
writing,
again.
or?
It has to be in, well, not in writing, but the way multifamily syndicators raise money. Let's say you're buying or a property for 300,000 and requesting 30,000 from a capital partner versus a syndicator buying $100 million property and raising $30 million from investors. Okay, same scenario. Exact same. What multifamily syndicator does differently and why they are able to go to 100 million level is because when they need $30,000 or $30 million, they are going to raise 35 million. Okay. But they can go from 30 to 35 or maybe $32 million because their economies of scale is really high. They can manage things going wrong or any natural calamity or whatever. They can manage that for within $2 million. For you, when you need $30,000, you can raise $40,000. But now the problem comes when you have to service that debt. You cannot get $10,000 that is interest bearing every month and just rot in your account. Does that make sense?
No, say that again. I can't get that extra 10,000 and put it in an interest-bearing account.
No. I'm saying the $30,000 you just raised or 40,000. Okay, whatever
40.
you raise for that property, that money is interest bearing. Okay, it needs to be paid back, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Sure. I mean, the syndicator who's raising $32 million, they also have to pay that back, but in different forms. Okay. So in this case, if you can choose to raise that extra money for watches early on, okay, and just keep it in your account. Or you can talk to the private money partner and say, hey, we are just buying this property and there is no war chest. If something were to go wrong, are you able to bring in $10,000? So while I'm raising 30 from you, I want you to keep in mind that I may need $10,000 to $15,000 if something were to go wrong.
Okay.
So if you have that discussion, then you are not on the hook for that money, and it's not rotting in the
Right.
account, not doing
Right.
anything.
But
So
you're
it's
setting the
committed to you.
expectation that if
Exactly.
something should happen or come up,
Exactly.
you're able to go to them and they're gonna provide you with that.
And just like, I discussed the scenario Erin was asking earlier. I didn't even discuss that part, what you just said. So something simple like this sounds very obvious to a lot of people, but it's not. You can, if you knock on the same door and ask for 10,000 overnight, you don't know where they're coming from unless that someone is your family friend or partner. I'm sorry, a friend or a relative that you know personally and their life situation. You may be dealing with someone who is giving you their last 30,000 as an investment and taking a huge risk. That door is closed after that 30,000, right? So if you have that conversation early on, they might just say, hey, I think we have to be careful. Maybe I need to bring someone else in. Okay. So discuss all these scenarios that we just discussed. I mean, I think I need to document this, and I'm building my course for underwriting, and this is a great point for that. So thank you for that. What's up, Armando? What's going on, man? Why are
Hey,
you not
what's
here on the
up?
ski slopes?
Why am I not in the East Coast?
No, why are you not here on the ski slopes with us?
I know, I
We
need to
have we have
be.
20 we have 25 or 30 people total from sub to gator, and it's growing. Last year we had 15, now it's 25. Next year we've all committed to promoting this meetup more. So anybody looking to ski or learn ski, next year February same meetup is going to happen in February because March they have squad up, and this year we got a lot less people because of squad up conflict. Anyways, what's your
Oh, that
question?
sounds cool. Oh,
Yeah.
sweet, man. Yeah, I got my sled all modified and everything. I can't ski yet, but I'll be right there with you somehow, man. Tube or something.
Do it.
But yeah, I was actually, yes, sir. I'm ready, and I need to. I need that adrenaline rush. So I was gonna ask you though, it's not any, I don't have any deal to underwrite today. I'm hoping for the next calls I will, and plus I want you to go outside and play and enjoy, man, you know.
Yes, no,
Um,
absolutely.
and so two of my questions, well, I wanted to see if these two type of scenarios I can bring to these calls when I do encounter them, or once I experience them and see how it from start to finish, how they'll um, be able to impact like what we're trying to do in real estate. Well, it's real estate. It's some things that's talked in Paces community when it comes to business acquisitions, right? I didn't know if you wanted it to just keep it where we're doing like fix and flip types of acquisitions and exiting that way with just real estate, or if it's cool to bring on like business acquisition questions.
Sorry? Yeah, for sure.
Is it
We can,
is it cool?
it's not, maybe not today might not be the right time for that question, but I'm sure we can talk about it with the panel next week.
Yeah. That sounds good. I was already
Yeah.
like thinking I was there with you. I was gonna pose in the background in your selfie right
Let's do
now.
it. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm trying to take a video for it.
That's what's up. Sweet, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay,
No,
yeah, then in the next
let's
one, then
talk
I'll bring
next
some.
week.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll
I
bring
have a
some
question.
business stuff.
Go ahead.
My name is Trayvon Porter, and
Hey, Trevon, how you doing?
I'm in Chicago right now. I'm doing this virtually. This is up until June, correct?
What is that?
The power hour is up until June, correct?
No, it's every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Every
So what-
Saturday,
so-
noon central.
So I need a link for every week. So I need to connect with
Yeah,
one of
it's
you
the same
guys.
link. Same link. You
Can you
check
drop it
for
in?
it's on my Instagram post every week. Whatever link you use today is the same link every week.
Okay. Yeah, because I was trying to. I've been in real estate for over a year now, and I'm looking to connect with people when I do my wholesale business.
Nice.
So that's what I'm trying to do, to learn how to underwrite. So I'm not an agent or anything, so I don't have access to the MLS to like how to
Okay.
comp like accurate,
What's
you know,
your
proper
market? Is Chicago your regular market or
Illinois, Texas, Arizona,
okay,
Vegas.
virtual markets? And And what
Say
you
that
do
again.
with the property? You do
Uh,
virtual markets.
I wholesale,
Okay,
so that's all I do right now. Then once I build my foundation with that, I was gonna get into fix and flip
nice.
and then buy and hold.
Yeah, that's how I started. I mean,
Yeah.
wholesaling is the perfect way for cash generation. Then start
Uh-huh.
investing slowly. Perfect.
Okay, and then my question is like, if I was, because this is my first time in a meeting, so if I was to come every week, you guys are like, what would I learn? That's what I'm trying to say with regards to my wholesale
So
business. Like,
so this call is to underwrite your deals. Anything you're stuck on, anything you can't figure out how to approach, happy to talk about it. We have a lot of people here that are experts in different things. They can add value in multiple ways. You'll
okay,
just attend, you'll see.
okay,
Hey, Chai, and the second thing I was gonna ask you if I can bring to this call, and if it's okay, because I know I had asked you at one time, but we're pretty busy. But I want to ask you, since I have a little bit of your time, we don't have to go into anything in depth or details. But
Yeah.
since you know, like I'm involved with renewable energy, electricity components like that, that's like my background before I got into real estate investing. I was a commercial uh, electrician. I did solar for a long time nationally,
Oh,
all this good
nice.
stuff, EV charging stations, but I'm starting to see, like, especially when you mentioned that the expenses are going up from 50 to 70%, I was like, oh, wow, that's going to absolutely make a big change of when they're trying to exit right now, when their loans are coming due. And I can actually alleviate some of that and provide a solution with what I just mentioned right now, electrical components and other stuff that I'm trying to get more involved with again, because I know I can increase cash flow, the NOI, right, and a lot of other stuff, whether it's for residential or commercial. So if you give me the permission at some point,
Yeah.
once I successfully, can accomplish this with some clients I have in the consulting side. So it sounds
Yeah,
good,
would love
man.
that. Awesome.
Thank
Hey,
you so much.
Crystal, how can we help you?
Hey, I was wondering, I was listening to the other guy talk, and I feel like I heard his question differently when he was asking about equity with the private money partners. And it's not. My question is, do private money lenders or partners, like, you know how when you're gonna do a fix and flip, you want like 70% of like before a private PML might be involved or something like that, right? I thought he was asking, when you're doing private money partners, even with a sub two, would you want it to be at 100% of fair market value, or private money partners are looking for there at least to be, maybe, when he said equity, I was thinking it was like, hey, I'm gonna
So,
buy it for it's worth or something like that.
so if I understood your question correctly, I think the answer to your question is, it's not about private money partner. I mean, it's not up to private money partner to decide your strategy. You need to have that nailed down already, and then you approach the private money partner or capital partner for money. And what I mean by that is, sub two deal you purchase mainly for the interest rate arbitrage or low interest rate that you can't get today, right? Today, your interest rate as an investor is anywhere between 6.5 to 7.5. So if you find a deal that has a lien attached to it for 2.5%, that's a hell of a deal. So the interest rate discount, it reflects in your monthly payment. Okay. House that has 2.5% versus 7%, the payments are going to be way different. Okay. So you are not, if you find a sub two deal with low interest and 70-80% of market value, obviously that is the best deal. But you don't, I mean, the reason people are selling deals sub two is because they are not able to get what they want on the market. So you're more than likely you're paying 100%, if not a little higher, uh, in terms of market value. But you are buying that as an investor for that interest. Okay, so you will end up doing creating a wraparound mortgage and doing interest rate arbitrage, or you will turn around and create co-living or rent it if it's the right market you're in. So you dictate that.
Cash,
You decide what your strategy is.
Sure.
And obviously, I mean, you explain it the way I explained it to your capital partners and how they will see money, right? How they will get
Yeah.
returns. So, hope that answers.
Okay,
But
thank-
great question. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? If not, I would like to get back. My son is waiting for his lunch. And some of our students have been awesome.
I had a question.
And yeah, go ahead.
I just had this real quick question. When underwriting a deal for cash flow for a buy and hold, because I'm in the affordable housing sector, what is the percent or the minimum that you should charge for rent? Is it like 2% of the purchase price, or like how do you arrive at that? And
So
how does that
1%.
pay? Go ahead.
No, great question. And I mean, pat yourself on the back for employing the affordable housing strategy. So have you rented anything to Section 8 yet?
Yes, I have. That's pretty much where I target at it.
Nice.
That's my
What market
market.
are you in?
Ohio.
Ohio. Oh, fantastic. Love it. So Midwest, especially, Ohio included, is still, I mean, dominating in terms of cash flow because the property prices are way lower,
Yes.
right? And everybody is flocking there. Some people are not comfortable with the flavors of the market. I mean, there is a lot of poverty and there are other challenges. But at the end of the day, answer your question that 1% or 2%. And again, for those who don't know what Randall is talking about, if you purchase a piece of property for $100,000 and every month you make $1,000 rent on that property, that 1,000 is equal to 1% of your purchase price. And that's a rule of thumb, like 1 second underwriting rule. Basically, if you know property price and if you know the rent in the market, oh, this is a good deal or this is a bad deal. Only people that can use that is who understand the area and the market overall. Okay. I cannot, again, I know Ohio, so I can tell you, but I'm just saying, if I don't operate in Ohio, I cannot tell you whether you should go for 1% or 2%. And I'm also going to, I mean, great question. I'm also going to talk about why 1% and why not 2%, or why 2% and why not 1%. And again, it's different from person to person. But going back to Ohio versus Texas, in Ohio, I don't know because I don't operate there. But in Texas, that's a great deal for a newbie investor. I'm never gonna sorry. So I'm never gonna settle for 1% in Texas myself because I have access to much better deals. I want at least 1.5 or 2 because I can find those deals. And as you get more mature in this business, you're gonna realize one thing, that finding deals is probably the hardest thing. Okay, unless you have your own marketing, which I did have, and it comes with other challenges and it takes up other time. So 1% for someone, let's say someone who is just dabbling in real estate, has a W-2, good income, have some money saved up, looking to buy a property and park their money or do their first deal. 1% is a great deal in Texas because 1% rule today, okay, 1% was hell of a deal 2 years ago because property taxes were low, insurance was low. So out of that $1,000, they were netting maybe 20-30%. Now they net maybe 10-15%. Okay, so that rule is not. I mean, you should know that rule because it gives you a quick understanding of whether you should go to the next stage of underwriting or not. That's all that is. It's not a conclusion of your underwriting. All it is a starting point. And it changes from year to year, depending on how property taxes, insurance fluctuates and interest. I'm sorry, and rents. Maybe the property has I mean, property is renting for $1,000 today, but Randall knows Ohio and he knows that if he rents this property on affordable housing, he can get 1,200. So for him, he can buy that property because he can turn that from 1% to 1.2%. Right? So now, going to Ohio. So in Ohio, specifically talking about Ohio or Michigan, properties are way cheaper than what you can buy in Texas or many other states. Sometimes you can buy properties in Ohio for lot less than what you can build for. Okay. I mean, I have a team in Detroit, not Ohio, but Michigan,
Yeah.
Detroit. They are buying properties for $20,000-$30,000. They are putting 10, 15,000 to fix it up, and then they are renting those properties for $1,500. So
Yeah.
buying for 50,000, renting for 1,500, that's 3% rate.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So if you are well connected, if you know yourself, and if you understand what your skill set is, okay, if your skill set is buying it and taking it to the next level using like affordable housing and all creative strategies, then you focus on that. But if your skill set is finding deeper deals, then you focus on that and then let a property management handle the other things. So early on, I mean, I don't know, Randall, to tell you like what your final strategy should be. Maybe you are much farther down than many other people. But someone just starting out, staying in your lane is very important. So those deals or that 1 or 2% thumb rule, you will develop understanding of what that percentage should be for yourself only after knowing yourself. So if you don't know yourself, which is fine, most people who start or jump into real estate and they're trying to find their first deal don't always know what they are looking for, because not because they don't have knowledge. There is all kinds of knowledge out there on YouTube and everything. It's all free. What they really don't know is themselves. That's the biggest challenge. So when they find out, okay, my skill set lies in this area, and this area requires whatever, and I'm not able to find great deals, maybe I need to focus on 1% deals and then use affordable housing to take them to 1 point. That might be the answer. Or if you have access to a ton of deals because you are someone that is out there doing podcasts, social media, and you get a ton of deals, then you can focus on 2% deals, and then percentage of that 2% goes to your property management. So you end up with 1.5.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So I hope that puts
Yep.
some perspective.
Yep.
So depending on your condition, you need to decide what's good for you. But for Ohio, just a very general statement I'll make. Anybody should strive to find 2% because it is possible.
Yep.
In Texas, you're lucky if you find 1% sometimes. So, but great question. And that gave me a great idea about that 2-3 second underwriting rule that I'm working on. I'm working on some curriculum for underwriting academy. And that is a great way to look at it. All right. I think I'm gonna end the call for today. Oh, I'm sorry, Crystal. Looks like you have your hand raised.
I'm sorry, I never put my hand down.
Oh,
I'm all
okay.
set.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure questions
Yeah,
are
appreciate
answered.
it.
But hey, thank you so much, guys. And the best way to find out about these calls and not forget is follow me on Instagram. Me and Jada, that's my Insta handle. And Jada's Insta handle is Jada Kohli straight.
Thank
So
you,
you can see
Chai.
the stories. Of course, let's talk about your call with your team, Pauline. Next.
Yes, we'll get together on that. I'll probably
Yeah.
email you sometime this week. Are you busy this week? Or
I'll be
maybe
back
maybe in
Monday.
April.
Let's-
How about April?
Tuesday is fine.
Okay,
Call me on
thanks.
Tuesday. All
Bye.
right.
Thanks,
Have a good
Chai.
night.
Hey,
I mean, good rest of the
Thank
day.
you.
Chai,
Take
Chai,
care.
I just wanted
Bye,
to say as a
guys.
friend,
Yeah, of course.
Chai, before you go down the slope, Make sure all your insurance is up to date and current, please.
Thank
if
you
you
so
hurt
much, man.
yourself.
Thank you. Knock on the
You know
wood.
I love you, bro.
Thank you. I know. Thank you, man.
All right, man.
Thank you. Love
Peace.
you.
All right,
Talk to
later.
you soon.